All right, Brooklyn, let's take a look at your paper. MLA format first. Everything looks good here and here. Weak title here, though, the frightful disorder. I mean, that's a little too much on the nose, so we'd want to fix this. Okay, so you start with a quote. It's cited correctly, which is good. What I'd want to see right after that is a sentence that explains this quote a little bit better. You try to. It was right off the bat that Macbeth had bad intentions, but that's not really the heart of this quote. Really, the heart of this quote is that he wants to keep his true intentions hidden, and so whatever his desires are, that's what he wants to keep hidden. So I would, frame that a little bit different. As soon as you talk about Macbeth, you got to talk about the play and the author too. So you got to add that in as soon as you mention that. After that, you talk about that gave a person the urge to repeat actions over and over again, which is also known as obsessive compulsive disorder. So a couple things. Number one, you got too much space here. Number two, you don't need to capitalize anything in there. You also got too much space in here. This might be accurate, but more than likely, I think the quote should be right there. I'm not sure the rest of that should be in there, but we'll take a look at it in a second. All right. So you say that he has some obsessive compulsive disorder. Are these? I guess I'm not sure what the main points are going to be in this paper. And so that you got to make that clear at the beginning what the symptoms you're going to talk about are, according to Macbeth. It was caused by the incapability of reaching the pleasing state of mind, so a pleasing state of mind. I like that idea for a thesis statement, so hopefully it rings true through the rest of your paper. So we'll take a look at it as we keep going through it. All right, so topic sentence: aggressive thoughts led Macbeth to murder multiple people so they could fulfill his promised prophecies. I really like that as a topic sentence, actually, Brooklyn. That's really good. All right, don't need a colon here. A colon, in this case, would be for introducing a list, but you only have these couple of things. So you could just say, such as thoughts of harming someone, etc. One thing that you're doing well, Brooklyn, that a lot of your classmates aren't, is at least trying to do in-text citation. Now look at this. See how you have the quotes right there? I'm assuming that's actually what just should be in there. This other stuff, I don't think probably will be in there. But again, we'll double check that and make sure. All right. Immediately after he receives his 3 prophecies. Now, you use this quote, which is fine, but really it's more about being king that he thinks about Duncan's murder. And I get like chronologically why this makes sense. When he sees the information, that'll be the Thane. Immediately he jumps to being king, which jumps to killing Duncan. So maybe chronologically just kind of clean that up a little bit. Space issue 2, you don't need spaces after the periods here in your in-text citation. So his sudden hesitation made him wary. He was not sure of himself anymore, and this led to irreversible action. Now, this sounds like you're getting into a thesis statement and trying to kind of tie all this together, which is good. But go back and look at your thesis statement. All his tragic downfall was caused by the incapability of reaching a pleasing state of mind. How does his aggressive thoughts play into that? Because I don't think you've talked about that yet in this body paragraph. And again, it's not a bad thesis statement, but I just want to see what that looks like down here. So you're going to want to tie that all together a little bit better. Good transition. I like that. And so we'll move on to the next paragraph. All right. You have doubt next. And you're going to specifically... Now, your topic sentence here specifically talks about killing Duncan, but you do talk about the witches down here as well. So make sure your topic sentence is a little bit more broad to cover everything. I would rather see a period here than a colon, like you're introducing something. And then you go into this. I don't know if this is the best quote to talk about his doubts. I get that, he's going back and forth in this, but I think a better indication of his doubts is him questioning his wife about how successful it would be. I don't know. I just don't know whether that's the best quote. I like the idea of how you wrapped it in with this. And again, Brooklyn, you're doing a great job of using your outside sources in here, because you have a quote, then you have something from the internet, then you have a quote, then you have something from the internet. It actually flows really nicely. So I'm really, really happy about that. That's something, again, your classmates are not doing that well. So you're doing a great job in that. Now, you talk about the prophecies coming true and needing to go see them a second time. And even like I said, the quote, like that is the part that, answer me. Like that's the part I'm really interested in, because that's him demanding that they, quote, answer me for what he's doing. Now, again, as we get into the idea of your thesis statement, they need to repeatedly check on ideas, which fits into doubt, which is good to make certain. Seems like everything was not perfect. They would go mad. And that's your transition leading into the next paragraph. Okay, let's go back to your thesis of reaching a pleasing state of mind. This actually, the whole doubt thing does lead to that. I get where that is. You just haven't really covered it that well. You just need another sentence or two to really tie that thesis in here. And again, I think you have the right information to get there. You just got to physically say it out loud. So we got to just keep going on that part. All right. I like your topic sentence here, way of preventing anxiety. Now, what I would do, because you start off with Duncan, you get into Banquo and Fleance a little bit, and this part is okay too. I would just overall talk about the idea of the preciseness of everything. And I go back to this. This is a better quote to talk about earlier. The whole, it may lead to the doubt thing, if we should fail. Doesn't that seem like a doubtful statement, right? If we should fail. So that's where I would use that quote up here. But maybe talk about overall the idea of preciseness. Lady Macbeth had a precise plan for killing Duncan. Macbeth had a precise plan that he wanted followed to kill Banquo and Fleance. Like, keep talking about that preciseness and how that works. Now, the one thing I've been praising you up and down about that you didn't do in this paragraph is adding in your in-text citation, your outside sources for the symptom. So you didn't really do that at all in here. So you need to do that somehow, even if it's just this first part. But I think you need more information, because I have a feeling I guess you are making the page limit, but I think you can probably add that in. So you have all these. You do have a run-on sentence. This right here is a run-on sentence, this whole thing. Right here's the natural pause. You even added 2 spaces. You even knew the natural pause was there. Be careful with, colons. I actually think this colon works. Macbeth was having anxiety that the murder of Duncan would go in his favor, and then you use the colon with a quote. I like that idea. It doesn't work here. Described in the play, there was a specific way of how Duncan was to be murdered. This one, sorry, Brooklyn. This one does work. There's another one way that you used it that didn't work. Anyway, just be careful that how you're introducing those lists and everything else. Okay. All right. Macbeth states, comma, so make sure you add that there. When you have a period right here, you don't have to add any comma right there too. The thing that you're, again, lacking in this is that tie to the thesis. This is just not enough. Not enough tie to the thesis about having a pleasant state of mind. You kind of get into it right there. You became very uneasy, but again, you're not really tying it that much together. Don't use the word very. I like the transition into fear. All right, so you have the idea of fear. You, again, bring in your outside source, which is good. He says, comma, is this a dagger which I see before me? And again, you don't need the comma there. Read some of these sentences. Macbeth also dread that the blood would never wash off. Also, I think you're trying to think of a different word for fear. Also feared. dreaded that the blood would never wash off. He explains, comma, and then that, and again the comma there isn't needed. Get rid of the spaces too. Now, you're doing a great job, except for that last paragraph, Brooklyn. You're doing a great job of tying in the outside source, examples from the play, but this is all you have for any kind of tie to the thesis. And even this is a poorly worded sentence that needs fixed. So you really got to do that and do a much better job of that. All right, here's the example of a colon that's not used right, such as seeking assurance from the witches. It's only one thing. It's not introduced in a list. So just, don't get rid of anything there. You don't need it. So you have the repeat of your thesis. You have the main points in here. And then you have this last sentence, this clincher, which actually goes back to the thesis really well, but it's something that you never really talk about in the play, in the body. So that's something we need to work on. All right, works cited page. This needs to be all the way to the top. And here's what I was talking about. This is the only thing that belongs in parentheses, but notice how you have two of them. That's when you need to say right before you state something, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, blah, 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 and then in parentheses this. That way when someone else looks at your paper, they can go and say, okay, where was that cite from the National Institute of Health? And they would go to that. Other than that, everything is mostly good. So accessed 1st March 2017, fix that, and you need periods at the end of all of those too. Okay, Brooklyn, you're doing a lot of things that are really good in here. We just need to work on a few things about tying the thesis in, clean up some punctuation and small little space issues, and making sure this third body paragraph is stronger. But other than that, it's a good looking paper. So good luck with the rewrite.